Continuing from the last chapter, the young Lord Mueller dared to covet the treasure Xiao Yan had obtained, only to be easily defeated and severely injured by Xiao Yan. Those who witnessed the battle between Xiao Yan and Mueller had one thought in their minds. Xiao Yan is not someone to be trifled with. Above the distant lake, an invisible light hovered in the sky. A vast and powerful soul force radiated out from it like a tide, swiftly sweeping in all directions. At this moment, within the small mountain range, except for a few high-level magical beasts with formidable strength, all other beasts felt an intense soul pressure. Under such pressure, their bodies involuntarily trembled. Xiao Yan is truly formidable. He can even use his soul power to absorb the spiritual chi from the heavens and earth to replenish himself, Yuru couldn't help but say as she watched Xiao Yan in the sky. Since their first meeting at the Alchemist Association, Xiao Yan had constantly amazed Yuru, later even healing her father, which sparked different feelings within her. Although Xiao Yan was aware, he thought his actions were merely out of gratitude for saving her father and did not think further. Yuru gazed at the invisible light in the sky. Even her father, with all his strength, might feel a sense of awe at such vast soul power. His strength was formidable, but if it came to soul power, he could hardly match Xiao Yan now. The soul power that spread like a tide continued for nearly a few minutes before it gradually dissipated, and the mass of invisible light slowly became visible under Yuru's watchful eyes. As the light faded, a silhouette holding a jet-black heavy ruler emerged. A closer look revealed it was Xiao Yan, now much healthier than before. "He's recovered?" Yuru said happily. Xiao Yan's repeated rescues meant their relationship was likely more than just friendship, Yuru thought to herself with a blush. But Yuru also knew that the soul, in this era, was too elusive and intangible for most to handle, resembling true humanoid souls, rarely seen. As forming a visible soul that persists was a feat even some Do-D-level powerhouses found challenging. "All right, we should head out as well. I can sense that there are no dragon-type magic cores here. We might as well try our luck at the main hall," Xiao Yan said, having regained his strength. "The matter with the crescent jade fruit, thank you," Yuru followed, biting her lip lightly. "It was nothing," Xiao Yan smiled. As time passed, more and more people gathered deeper into the ruins. An ancient stone door slowly obstructed the entrance to the grand hall. Everyone present knew that beyond this door lay endless riches and glory, including immortal-class martial techniques, cultivation methods, and even rare heavenly materials and earthly treasures, the true wealth. However, they also understood that the ruins imposed a strength limitation, so forcing their way through the stone door was not an option. They could only wait for the seal to weaken gradually. But judging by the rate of weakening, it would not take more than 3 days to open. "Let's settle down here for now. It looks like we can only wait." Despite being within the ruins, the distinction between day and night still existed, and night soon fell. In a deserted forest, the flicker of a campfire illuminated two figures, Xiao Yan and Yuru. "Try some," Xiao Yan said, offering a chicken leg to Yuru. The night was chilly, so Xiao Yan had built a fire and grilled a low-level magical beast they'd caught for sustenance. Although a Do-D-level warrior like him could survive on spiritual chi from the environment for days without eating, why pass up a free meal? "I didn't expect your grilled meat to be quite delicious," Yuru said elegantly, tearing off a piece. The familiar flavors greatly enhanced her appetite. "Ha ha ha, years of living outdoors, you pick up these things." Xiao Yan, far less genteel than Yuru, devoured the meat voraciously. Suddenly, 3 leaves whistled through the air towards them, carried by an overwhelming force. "Yuru, watch out." Xiao Yan, always vigilant from his years of traveling, reacted instantly. His heavenly flames flared up, turning the 3 leaves into nothingness. Yuru was startled by the unexpected late-night attack, but, thankfully, Xiao Yan's warning had her ready for battle. Who goes there? Sneaking around like that? Xiao Yan's soul power had locked onto the assailant the moment they made their move. "Come out." A milky white flame shot towards where the mysterious person stood. The flame, searing hot as if sentient, cleverly navigated through the trees, directly targeting the mysterious figure. "Been spotted, have I?" muttered a voice from a large tree. With a loud thud, the mysterious person jumped down from the tree, landing in Xiao Yan and Yuru's view. A man without guilt, but carrying a gem incurs blame. The crescent jade fruit is a fine thing, but without the strength to protect it, it's like giving away your life for free. A voice echoed from the mountains as a figure emerged from the forest. This person was built like a tower, his gaze fierce and battle-hungry, grinning broadly at Xiao Yan before charging at him without hesitation. "You've troubled yourself for nothing," Xiao Yan said coldly. Yuru recognized the man. They called him and Mueller the pride of Qing City. Sun Ming, a natural-born warrior, now also a late-stage 3-star Do D. But Xiao Yan was unafraid. Armed with the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes and the immortal class combat technique of the ancient ruler of heavenly flames, his soul attacks and heavenly flames had a clear advantage over such an opponent. "I mean no harm today. Just wanted to see if Xiao Yan is as formidable as the rumors say," the man said, sizing up Xiao Yan before casually walking away. "It's more surprising that you, with your early 3-star Do D strength, defeated Mueller, a mid-stage 3-star Do D. You'll make a fine opponent. Let's meet deep in the ruins." "We'll see if you're up to it," Xiao Yan replied with a smile. "What on me could they possibly be interested in?" Xiao Yan wondered. "It's likely your heavenly flames. Although these undead types have a cold attribute, they might want to experiment with such a unique heavenly material," the Golden Dragon King explained. "Let's just take it one step at a time." The night passed uneventfully, and 3 days quickly went by. At that moment, the seal on the stone door before them weakened, ready to open. Outside the stone door, a sea of people had gathered. The dull 3-day wait was about to end. With a whoosh, the space in front of them violently distorted, emitting a sound like flowing water. As the sound spread, the fluctuations in that space grew more intense. "Looking at this momentum, the stone door is about to open," noted an observant onlooker. As the energy seal became increasingly ethereal under the fluctuations, countless eyes outside the crowd glinted with a fierce red. Their breathing grew heavier, and hands gripped their weapons tighter. "A battle for treasures. Who knows what kind of bloody storm will ensue?" Xiao Yan remarked, feeling the weight of the impending chaos. Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes as he observed the increasingly distorted space, feeling a terrifying surge of energy amidst the bizarre whooshing sounds. The energy was wildly erratic, like a volcano suppressed beneath the Earth's crust, ready to erupt with ferocity. Whoosh! Another burst of strange sounds came as the twisted space suddenly solidified and then, with a crisp pop, shattered like fragile glass into countless tiny fragments. "Charge! The ruins are open." At the moment the spatial seal burst, countless figures around the crowd, their eyes blazing red and emitting deep, greedy roars, surged forward like a swarm of locusts toward the center of the crowd. As the stone door gradually opened, an ancient and desolate aura wafted out, making many faces solemn. Ancient relics held a sacred significance for many. Seeing the opening stone door, Xiao Yan made a feint, lightly sweeping back, then returning to his original position. Observing this, many twitched their mouths, cursing silently at the cunning youth. Knowing Xiao Yan clearly did not want to be the first to enter the mysterious ruins. As the door fully opened, the creaking noise gradually ceased, and the crowd on the plaza looked at each other, with no one daring to step forward first. Xiao Yan, however, was unconcerned about the silence outside the stone door. Touching his storage ring, his smile was brilliant. Hardly had they entered the ruins when the Golden Dragon King sensed the presence of dragon-type magic cores. Periodically, more powerhouses rushed to the site, having learned of the door's opening. Seeing the increasing number of powerful figures arriving, the initial groups and forces grew impatient. Finally, someone couldn't resist stepping slowly through the stone door. Screams were incessant. "Retreat quickly." In contrast to those who rushed headlong, Xiao Yan's expression changed the moment the space burst. He grabbed Yuru beside him and, with a tap of his toe on a tree trunk, retreated explosively. The proud sons of the 5 great cities also sensed the danger and retreated swiftly without hesitation. As Xiao Yan and others retreated, many figures on the surrounding giant trees also hurriedly moved back, obviously having noticed something alarming. During their rapid retreat, the fragments of the burst spatial seal paused briefly, then with a loud boom, a terrifying force of space, enough to alarm even a 4-star Do-D, swept out like a storm. Those who had rushed forward were instantly engulfed by the storm, and soon, their agonizing screams echoed over the sea of fire. Not a trace was left of them. The spatial seal was terrifyingly powerful. The violent spatial ripples, like mowing down wheat, completely obliterated those at the forefront without mercy. Observing the others who were slightly behind, they finally realized something was wrong. Thus, the crowd that had initially surged forward now turned tail in a disgraceful retreat. Outside the stone door, chaos reigned. Tens of thousands of figures moved frantically because if they didn't run, what awaited them was death. Regardless of their greed, they needed to live to enjoy it, leading to the scene now unfolding. Because they were at a distance, by the time the spatial storm reached them, it caused no harm to Xiao Yan and his companions. They finally breathed a sigh of relief. A glance around revealed numerous figures writhing on the ground, screaming in agony, their blood staining the land outside the stone door a deep red. What a terrifying spatial seal. After countless years, it still possesses such formidable impact, truly befitting the ruins of a peak Do-D. Seeing the devastation caused by this spatial fluctuation, even the proud sons of the 8 great cities showed shock on their faces. Let's go. These guys were too hasty. They deserved it. Xiao Yan chuckled, waved his hand, and his figure transformed into a rainbow streak, darting into the stone door. At the same time, other powerful figures who had also successfully avoided the spatial fluctuations immediately used their abilities to blur into the door. The Emperor's mausoleum was finally open. As they drew closer, the gray mist floating inside the stone door gradually thinned, revealing a colossal structure to Xiao Yan and the others. Stepping through the stone door, they beheld a massive hall at its deepest part, nearly 1,000 yards in size, resembling a small mountain. This grand hall dwarfed the Soul Hall Xiao Yan had encountered on the Do-Chi continent. Looking up at this enormous structure between heaven and earth, they felt a profound sense of insignificance. That so-called great fortune must be in there, right? Those present seemed to understand. The entire hall was a striking red, appearing as if a flame from a distance, particularly eye-catching against the gray-white space around it. The surrounding powerhouses were also momentarily stunned by the sheer scale of the red hall, taking a while before regaining their composure, exchanging looks that reflected their shock. Indeed, it was a creation befitting an emperor-level powerhouse, grand and imposing. Figures gradually slowed their pace and stopped a few hundred meters from the stone door. From here, the hall appeared even more immense, its top reaching into the clouds. No wonder it was hidden behind a spatial seal. Such a colossal hall would stand out anywhere. Xiao Yan remarked in surprise. Let's go this way. My soul power has detected the presence of dragon-type magical beasts. Xiao Yan pulled Yuru along. Aren't we going to the main hall? What about the great opportunity? Yuru asked, visibly tempted, although she didn't hold much hope for a major fortune, but was curious to see it. If it were that easy to obtain, it wouldn't be a great opportunity. Let's go. Xiao Yan was clear that the priority was to find the dragon-type magic course. It seems they've lost their minds, leaving such a great fortune untouched. Well, that's just as well. It means one less competitor for us. Let's go, said the undead who had stolen the fake crescent jade fruit from Xiao Yan, seemingly unconcerned. Miss, we should also go. I don't want to. I still want to follow them. Feng Yi insisted stubbornly. Being an alchemist, she was well aware of the strong soul power Xiao Yan possessed, which might inspire her to break through. Moreover, she felt that, compared to the great fortune, advancing her rank as an alchemist was more important. Xiao Yan and Yuru landed on a gray-black giant tree. Looking ahead, they saw a vast forest filled with alternating gray and white trees, which were devoid of branches and leaves, presenting only bare trunks that looked like a menacing forest of spears, chilling to behold. However, Xiao Yan and Yuru did not linger on this view for long. They focused directly on the center of the forest, where the air was filled with a deathly aura, and a gray-white shadow snored like a nightmare demon. According to the Golden Dragon King, the dragon-type magical beast resided right here. Xiao Yan's formidable soul power swept out like a tempest, piercing through the thick, deathly aura. Instantly, the scene deep in the forest became clear in his vision. Beneath a large tree in that depth, a black shadow loomed like a lizard, its body clad in black armor. The armor was wrapped in the deathly aura, its presence so intense that even Xiao Yan's expression grew serious. The deathly aura exuded by this black beast was far stronger than any undead they had previously encountered. Clearly, just from the aura alone, this was a beast that could rival a 4-star Do-D. As Xiao Yan inspected this powerful beast using his clan's technique, he suddenly let out a soft exclamation, noticing that the armor on the beast's body was quite damaged. There were deep, crimson scars visible on its surface, exposing gray-white bones. There were also some fresh wounds, clearly inflicted recently. The beast's aura of death was slightly chaotic, as if it had just survived a major battle. What's wrong? Yuru, noticing Xiao Yan's slight frown, asked softly. This beast seems to have sustained some injuries, Xiao Yan said, his tone tinged with confusion. He had already used his soul power to scout the perimeter, and there were no other teams nearby. So, where did the beast's injuries come from? Hearing this, Yuru also expressed surprise, then smiled. It seems we are in luck. An injured beast is easier to deal with than one in its prime. Xiao Yan chuckled, not overly worried, and his gaze shifted back to the forest shrouded in deathly aura, his eyes flickering. Yuru looked at Xiao Yan and said, "There are quite a few magical beasts in this area, but looking at those footprints, it seems they were driven out by this dragon. So, it's likely that the dragon was injured in the process. Let's go. I'll wrap us in soul power and take a closer look inside," Xiao Yan suggested. He felt the situation wasn't as simple as it appeared, and it was best to be cautious. After all, this was a beast comparable to a human 4-star Do-D. If not for the beast's injuries and having the Golden Dragon King with them, Xiao Yan would never consider approaching it. Although the lizard with dragon's blood was extremely powerful, its perception of soul power was much weaker. As long as Xiao Yan and Yuru didn't deliberately provoke the dragon lizard, it was unlikely to detect them. As Xiao Yan and Yuru started moving towards the direction where the bloodthirsty dragon lizard was, they found that a group had already arrived there, and the situation had become extremely volatile. A large group of figures in white robes stood outside the den of the dragon lizard, a chilling aura emanating from them, lowering the temperature of the entire area. At the forefront of this group stood two somewhat stooped, elderly figures. Their mere presence emitted a formidable and sinister coldness, spreading slowly, creating an oppressive atmosphere. Among them, the most eye-catching was an old man in the center with white hair and beard, leaning on a dragon-headed cane made of what seemed like white jade. The dragon's head on the cane was wide open with a fierce maw, its cold dragon eyes emitting a chilling intent. Compared to the other elder next to him, he seemed quite ordinary. His body showed no signs of energy leakage, and even his aged face appeared exceptionally withered, his slightly squinted eyes murky. This appearance made him look no different from an ordinary old man. Surprisingly, this unremarkable old man stood at the very center of the group, with even the other powerfully auried white-robed elder half a step behind him, his expression filled with respect. Around the den, many onlookers gathered, shocked at the scene, especially upon recognizing the distinctive snowflake pattern on the robes of these figures. Could it be Solomon's people? Yuru exclaimed. Solomon was one of the most powerful and prestigious forces on the Xinling continent. Although not much good or bad news circulated about them, Solomon's strength and reputation were unquestionable. "Don't rush. Let's first see what their purpose is," Xiao Yan said, also surprised that Solomon would be interested in the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. "These people have an unusual aura," the Golden Dragon King noted after carefully sensing the presence of the people from Solomon. I always feel their strength seems somewhat unstable. Could it be my illusion?" the Golden Dragon King murmured to himself. "Dragon lizard, we've come only to borrow your dragon's blood," the white-haired elder leading the group said to the dragon lizard crouching at the den's entrance. Boom, boom, boom. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard swung its massive tail angrily. Damned humans. If it weren't for your ambush earlier, I would kill you all, the dragon lizard roared. These humans had poisoned it while it was feeding, causing a momentary paralysis. The two leading elders had attacked with full force. Although the dragon lizard could match a 4-star Dodi, it was severely injured and at a disadvantage against the two 3-star Dodi at their peak. Moreover, the dragon lizard seemed to fear, even dread, the dragon-headed cane in the white-haired elder's hand. Despite its severe injuries, a dragon-class magical beast wouldn't easily submit. It let out a dragon's roar toward the forest. Boom, boom, boom. Magical beasts from all directions rushed in, including 3 capable of matching a late-stage 3-star Dodi. Damn, this beast is calling its minions. We've been careless, the white-haired elder leading the group yelled, thinking they could easily subdue the dragon with the dragon-headed cane. Prepare for battle. You all hold off the other beasts. Number 2, follow me to kill this dragon lizard, the white-haired elder commanded. Charge. Since you beasts show no gratitude, don't blame us for being ruthless, the elder known as Bing Tian told another person. Hearing Bing Tian's words, Bing Wu quickly moved towards where Bing Tian was, continuously changing hand seals as if brewing something. Bing Tian raised the dragon-headed cane high, muttering strange incantations to himself. A bizarre scene unfolded. Bing Tian's raised dragon-headed cane began to emit wisps of white mist. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, seeing these humans, especially the two leading elders, was filled with indignation. 2-peak 3-star Dodi. Although the dragon's strength was comparable to a 4-star Dodi human, these despicable humans had attacked it while it slept, resulting in numerous injuries and significantly reducing its strength. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard then demonstrated intelligence no less than a human's. Observing Bing Tian and Bing Wu's actions, it sensed that they were preparing their final strategy. The dragon coiled its body, its sharp gaze fixed on the two as they formed their array. The large dragon pupils stared down Bing Tian and Bing Wu, making them tremble. Knowing the gravity of their situation, they had to eliminate the bloodthirsty dragon lizard today or face annihilation. Moreover, the thought of the tortures awaiting them if they failed their sect's mission made them shudder. We cannot lose. Let's go all out. This resolution simultaneously arose in their minds. Their movements hastened. The originally dull sky began to cloud over. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, seeing the changing sky, muttered under its breath that this was bad. However, the proud spirit of the dragon's bloodline wouldn't allow such a noble creature to flee. It took a deep breath and roared out of the cave. This roar, although seemingly simple, contained an extremely powerful sonic attack. Waves of sound burst forth from the cave, striking directly at Solomon's disciples. The dragon lizard knew that its best chance now was to significantly reduce their numbers to give its minions a chance to wage a war of attrition. Boom, boom, boom. Solomon's followers, busy fighting other beasts, were shocked by the powerful sonic waves. Some of the weaker ones were incapacitated by the sudden attack, with blood pouring from their noses and mouths. Some clutched their heads, obviously unable to defend against this type of sonic attack, leading to dreadful casualties among Solomon's people. Over a third were dead. The leaders, Bing Tian and Bing Wu, were enraged. Beasts! We initially wanted to use some of your dragon's blood for a great experiment, but now you've enraged us, so you must die today. Ha ha! Despicable and shameless humans, thinking to use my blood. Our noble dragon blood is not something you can tamper with. Besides, it was you who ambushed me first. Their deaths merely serve your sins. Rest assured, you'll soon join them. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard roared defiantly, a true dominator of its domain. Solomon disciples, form the array. Bing Tian shouted, his eyes red with fury. Hearing the echoing command, the remaining Solomon disciples hesitated briefly before responding in unison. They closed their eyes, and moments later, wisps of white energy began to seep out from atop their heads. Streams of white misty energy rose up, eventually cloaking the entire sky, resembling a sea of clouds. with Bing Tian and Bing Wu at the center, controlling the formation. "Assist me!" Bing Tian shouted again, his face bloodied from the dragon's sonic attack, now scabbed over and looking even more ghastly. At Bing Tian's command, about a dozen white-robed disciples suddenly stood up on a platform, leaped up, and dispersed around the edge of the clearing, forming hand seals. As they moved their hands, the sea of clouds in the sky also began to undulate violently, with energy rapidly condensing in the center, soon covering the entire cave. "This is bad." The bloodthirsty dragon lizard roared hysterically upon seeing the formation complete, sensing a devastating power emanating from it. "Oh, it's actually a dual chain-lock dragon column," the Golden Dragon King said to Xiao Yan. "What is a dual chain-lock dragon column?" Xiao Yan asked, watching the central battle where Bing Tian and Bing Wu now seemed to be part of the formation, while the dragon lizard was in grave danger. The so-called dual chain-lock dragon column is a sealing formation, but it has unexpected effects against dragon-type magical beasts. In other words, it's a bane for dragon types, the Golden Dragon King explained. Xiao Yan frowned upon hearing this. "Don't worry, I haven't put much stock in such a level of sealing array. It might work against a bloodthirsty dragon lizard with impure bloodlines, but if they tried to seal me, I could annihilate them with a flick of my finger." As a true dragon, the Golden Dragon King's prowess was far superior. "But I always feel there's something off about these Solomon folks," the Golden Dragon King muttered in a voice only he could hear. Xiao Yan had no reason to doubt the truth of the Golden Dragon King's words. He then refocused his attention on the ongoing battle. Xiao Yan also strengthened the soul power covering himself and Yuru, fearing discovery. Although the people here were weaker in soul power than Xiao Yan, caution was never a bad idea. "Strange, Xiao Yan clearly came here. Why can't I sense his presence?" a girl in colorful attire said. "Miss, there seems to be signs of a fight in the cave ahead. Should we check it out?" Her attendant returned from scouting. It was unclear why the young mistress, despite having a great opportunity, was intent on finding Xiao Yan, but the attendant's duty was to protect her, and they dared not question further. "Let's go." "You can't escape my grasp, Xiao Yan." The playful girl slowly headed towards the cave. Upon closer inspection, this playful young woman was none other than Feng Yi. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the grand array controlled by Bing Tian and Bing Wu was completed. The sky was enveloped by swirling clouds, and suddenly, two towering beams of light pierced through the clouds. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard felt an extreme terror emanating from those two pillars of light. Then came the dragon lizard's hysterical roars. A sealing formation? Wasn't the dual chain-lock dragon column lost? How could it possibly be in your hands? Ha ha ha. You don't need to know that. We came prepared to deal with you. Bing Tian controlled the towering beams of light, directing them towards the dragon lizard. With a flash, Bing Tian and the two beams of light arrived in front of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. Bang! 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 A series of chain-like beams encircled the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. Seeing the situation, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard inwardly cursed its luck, feeling its power rapidly diminishing within the encirclement of the two towering pillars of light. Indeed, the lock dragon column lives up to its reputation, exerting such overwhelming suppression on creatures like the bloodthirsty dragon lizard that possess even a trace of dragon blood. Xiao Yan observed as the dragon lizard was forced into retreat. Boom, boom, boom. A fierce dragon roar accompanied the wild thrashing of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard's tail. The entire cave was in chaos, with rocks and sand flying everywhere, far from its original state. The dragon's tail generated terrifying bursts of energy, capable of rivaling the peak of a 4-star Do-D, striking towards Bing Tian. Die! Bing Tian shouted, seizing the opportunity to attack the dragon lizard. Clearly, Bing Tian realized that the dragon lizard's strength was being drastically suppressed by the lock dragon column, and there was no better time to strike. Thump, thump, thump. The heavenly pillars seemed almost sentient, cleverly neutralizing the dragon's attacks before spiraling towards the dragon lizard under the enhancement of Bing Tian's white mist. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, Seeing the agile heavenly pillars, tried to dodge but soon realized that the space around it had been severely sealed by the dual chain-lock dragon column. Its own cave was especially tightly sealed. At that moment, the dragon lizard's pupils suddenly covered with a crimson hue, giving it a sinister appearance. It knew that the dual chain-lock dragon column, reputed as the bane of dragonkind, was truly formidable, and being bound by these chains could mean its end today. The thought of such a noble creature with dragon blood being driven to such desperation, and potentially facing its end, filled it with indignation. Dragons are inherently proud beings, and the bloodthirsty dragon lizard, despite its diluted dragon blood, was no exception. Has the bloodthirsty dragon lizard given up resisting? Yuru watched, stunned, as the dragon, facing the locked dragon column, made no move. It's unlikely. Did you notice the change in the dragon's pupils? The stronger the magical beast, the harder it is to kill. Moreover, the more powerful beasts have three forms: a latent form, a battle form, and a berserk form. The latent form is the weakest, where the beast lies low and doesn't reveal much power. The battle form is when a beast utilizes most of its strength, several times stronger than the latent form. If a beast is pushed to desperation, it activates its last resort, the berserk form, which is the most terrifying and far stronger than the previous two forms. Look closely at the dragon. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard's berserk form might be related to its bloodthirstiness, Xiao Yan explained slowly. Yuru looked at Xiao Yan with a mix of surprise and admiration. Not only was he exceptionally strong and skilled in alchemy, but he also had a bold yet meticulous nature. She stared at him, pondering his words. Xiao Yan knew these secrets through the Golden Dragon King. Otherwise, how could he know so much? He then looked up at the ongoing battle, curious about the berserk form the Golden Dragon King had mentioned, without noticing Yuru's gaze. The battle was intense. Bing Wu watched as the dragon lizard appeared to have stopped resisting. The heavenly pillars slowly wrapped around its tail and claws. Ha ha ha. Bing Wu laughed, relieved at the thought of completing their mission by sealing the dragon. Not good. Although Bing Tian was unaware of the distinctions in magical beast forms, he sensed something ominous when he saw the change in the dragon's pupils. How is this possible? Humans. I told you, you'd pay the price. The dragon lizard snarled venomously at the people inside the cave. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard's innate talents were about to be fully unleashed. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, seeing itself surrounded by two towering pillars of light, sensed its power draining rapidly. Truly worthy of the locked dragon column, this kind of suppression is incredibly powerful against creatures like the bloodthirsty dragon lizard that have just a trace of dragon blood. Xiao Yan noted as he watched the dragon lizard being forced to retreat under the pressure. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon lizard's tail thrashed wildly in anger, stirring up dust and debris throughout the cave, which had been peaceful moments before. Its tail generated waves of force powerful enough to rival the peak of a 4-star Do-D, launching them at Bing Tian. Die! Bing Tian yelled, launching an attack at the dragon lizard. He realized that with the dragon lizard's strength being suppressed by the locked dragon column, there was no better time to strike. Thump, thump, thump. The heavenly pillars, seemingly sentient, cleverly neutralized the dragon's attacks, and under the augmentation of Bing Tian's white mist, they shot towards the dragon lizard. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard, realizing the agility of these heavenly pillars, tried to dodge but found that the space it occupied had already been tightly sealed by the dual chain-lock dragon column. The space in its cave was especially heavily sealed. At that moment, the dragon lizard's pupils flashed a sinister crimson, indicating its sinister state. It understood all too well that the dual chain-lock dragon column, known as the bane of dragonkind, was proving its reputation. If it got trapped by these chains, it might indeed fall here today. The thought of such a noble creature, bearing dragon blood, being driven to such desperation and possibly dying was intolerable. Dragons are inherently proud, and the bloodthirsty dragon lizard, despite its diluted dragon lineage, was no exception. Has the bloodthirsty dragon lizard given up resisting? Yuru asked, stunned as she watched the dragon, facing the locked dragon column without a move. Probably not. Did you notice the change in the dragon's pupils? The stronger the beast, the harder it is to kill, and the more powerful beasts have three forms: a latent form, a combat form, and a berserk form. The latent form is the weakest, where the beast hides its power. The combat form is when a beast uses most of its power, several times stronger than the latent form. If pushed into a corner, it will activate its last resort, the berserk form, which is the most fearsome and far more powerful than the previous two forms. Watch the dragon closely. The berserk form of the bloodthirsty dragon lizard might be related to its bloodthirstiness, Xiao Yan explained slowly. Yuru looked at Xiao Yan with a mix of surprise and admiration, recognizing not only his exceptional strength and alchemy skills, but also his bold yet meticulous nature. She stared at him, deep in thought. Xiao Yan had learned these secrets from the Golden Dragon King. Otherwise, he wouldn't know so much. He continued to watch the ongoing battle, curious about the berserk form described by his master, unaware of Yuru's gaze. The fight was heating up. Bing Wu saw the dragon lizard, as if it had given up resisting. The heavenly pillars slowly wrapped around its tail and claws. Ha ha ha. Bing Wu laughed, relieved at the thought of completing their mission by sealing the dragon. Not good. Although Bing Tian was not familiar with the distinctions in magical beast forms, he sensed something ominous when he saw the change in the dragon's pupils. How is this possible? Humans. I told you, you'd pay the price. The dragon lizard snarled venomously at the people inside the cave. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard's innate talents were about to be fully unleashed. The roar naturally impacted the bloodthirsty dragon lizard in the cave. All the magical beasts issued sounds of astonishment and halted, aware that they were witnessing a battle between two formidable beings. Their gazes followed the source of the sound, eventually resting on Bing Tian. It seems you Solomon folks have coveted my blood for a long time, the dragon lizard thought coldly. The dragon lizard's dragon breath and Bing Tian's attack were launched almost simultaneously. Both understood that the battle had reached a point where there was no longer any need for restraint. A final strike could determine the outcome. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard was enveloped in a distinct crimson protective membrane that seemed naturally perfect, covering its entire body. The temperature at the dragon's mouth also rose dramatically as Bing Tian completed his absorption, causing even the air around it to fracture slightly. The dragon breath in this bloodthirsty state was terrifyingly powerful. Puff, puff, puff. The fearsome dragon breath burst forth from the bloodthirsty dragon lizard's mouth, directed at Bing Tian. The horrifying dragon breath contained destructive power, capable of severely injuring even a 4-star Do-D with just a slight touch. Around Bing Tian, Black Do-Chi instantly formed a sinister black column of light in front of him. The column was filled with whales, with numerous arms reaching out from its periphery towards the dragon breath. He was taking it head-on. After absorbing the power of his companions, Bing Tian's strength had surged to a frightening degree, and he now confidently planned to withstand the dragon's dragon breath. Bing Tian really is arrogant, but he has the capital to be so, Xiao Yan remarked quietly. However, as the battle progressed, the bloodthirsty dragon lizard had unleashed its berserk form and used its ultimate bloodthirsty talent. In contrast, Bing Tian had devoured all of Solomon's people present, significantly boosting his strength and breaking through the spatial constraints of the area. This space only restricted the easy entry and exit of 4-star Do-D and above, but breaking through to 4-star Do-D within it was a different matter. But what was crucial was that they were both fighting desperately, headed towards inevitable exhaustion. Yuru, be ready to act on my command shortly, Xiao Yan whispered to her. Don't worry, Xiao Yan. I sense several auras approaching, some of whom you've encountered before, the Golden Dragon King remarked, not only watching the battle in the cave, but also keeping an eye on the surrounding space, then addressing Xiao Yan, who was intently observing the fight. Xiao Yan was frustrated. Now wasn't the time to worry about others. His priority was securing the magic core, and he became even more cautious in his approach. The bloodthirsty dragon lizard's dragon breath was indeed powerful enough to challenge a 5-star Do-D. Even Bing Tian, boosted by consuming his peers, struggled against it. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon breath clashed viciously with Bing Tian's black column of light. Using power that's not truly yours is always going to be tough, right? The dragon lizard shouted, hinting that deceitful methods would ultimately be inferior. Suddenly, before the dragon lizard could finish speaking, the terrifying dragon breath overwhelmed Bing Tian's black column of light. Thump! The spot where Bing Tian had been was hit by the dragon breath, sending ripples of intense heat radiating from the center. Bing Tian had faltered midway. He was instantly obliterated by the dragon lizard's most potent strike of dragon breath. This dramatic turn of events seemingly relaxed the bloodthirsty dragon lizard. Our dragon kind is not something you lowly humans can compare to. You truly deserve to die, the dragon lizard said, though it continued to spew several more breaths of dragon breath defensively. Boom, boom, boom. The dragon lizard then crashed heavily to the ground. Clearly, the dragon breath and its bloodthirsty talent had drained much of its power and even its life force, but at least it had preserved its life. The dragon lizard's eyes closed weakly, now so frail that even a 2-star Do-D human could easily kill it. Thump! A dragon-headed cane silently pierced the nearly lifeless bloodthirsty dragon lizard's head. Now it truly ends. Old Ginger is still spicier. Bing Tian, who had seemed to disappear, reappeared, his figure tattered and still dripping with some black blood, looking even more ferocious. The protective membrane that had covered the bloodthirsty dragon lizard dissipated as it fell, not because the time was up, but because the dragon lizard was too weak and maintaining the bloodthirsty state was extremely life-draining. But the dragon lizard had underestimated human cunning, and until the dragon-headed cane delivered the fatal blow, its eyes remained wide open in disbelief that Bing Tian could have survived its dragon breath. You can't catch a wolf without risking your sheep, Bing Tian responded to the dragon lizard's last question, then began to collect its blood and magic core. Just as Bing Tian was preparing to deal with the dragon, a surge of majestic Do-Chi, intertwining azure and silver like a fusion of fierce wind and thunder, burst forth like a ribbon and collided fiercely with Bing Tian. Bing Tian, I never expected to find you here. Die! The girl in the colorful skirt said to the fearsome Bing Tian in front of her. The city lord of Wind Thunder City, Feng Yi's father, had lost an arm and a leg due to unprovoked persecution by several elders of Solomon, a humiliation that Wind Thunder City had never forgotten. Feng Yi, dearly loved by her father, had sworn lifelong enmity against Solomon. Bing Tian had just finished a major battle and was at his weakest. Seeing the girl in the colorful skirt and her companions, he felt a sense of despair. There were 5 3-star Do-D with her. Haha. If it weren't for your father sacrificing himself to save you back then, you would be in a much different state now, Bing Tian said greedily as he eyed Feng Yi, the girl in the colorful skirt. Today is the day you die, Feng Yi said calmly, her eyes burning with fervor. Finally, I can avenge my father. Her companions, responsible for her protection, tried to intervene as they saw her becoming emotionally unstable, but they noticed a dark figure launching an attack at Feng Yi. I might not survive, but none of you will either. Ha ha ha. Bing Tian approached Feng Yi rapidly. As he neared, his body swelled and emitted a thick black aura, clearly intending to take Feng Yi down with him. Though Feng Yi was agitated, she retained her composure, frowning slightly at the sight of Bing Tian, enveloped in black aura, charging towards her. Even now, as severely injured as Bing Tian was, Feng Yi could still sense a terrifying aura emanating from the black energy surrounding him. She suddenly moved, her figure swiftly shifting upward, while a trace of silver space power sparked in the palm of her hand. Space lock. As soon as the girl in the colorful skirt uttered the command, the space around Bing Tian violently fluctuated and then solidified, transforming into a spatial prison that enveloped him. Forming such a substantial spatial prison was a feat beyond most 4-star Do-D, but with the aid of her strong wind and thunder powers and the inherent space abilities of those elements, Feng Yi could manipulate the free-floating space forces of the environment. Bing Tian had just fought a fierce battle with the bloodthirsty dragon, seemingly effortless, but indeed he had sustained severe injuries. Despite having consumed his companions to bolster his strength, he underestimated the dragon, ultimately defeating it, but at the cost of severe injury. Severely wounded, Bing Tian saw Feng Yi and her 4 3-star Do-D companions. Knowing he was likely to fall here, he was unwilling to die alone and intended to take them down with him, hence his current desperate act. As soon as the spatial prison was formed, Bing Tian's body horrifyingly swelled, and then a shocking explosion erupted. Boom! A terrible wave of black energy, like a tidal wave in the ocean, swept violently in all directions. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan, having seen Bing Tian's self-destruction, unleashed his soul power towards the dragon's body, covering it completely as if it had vanished, unnoticed at the center of the explosion. Good thing we made it in time, otherwise, this horrific self-destruction would have been hard to survive without shedding some skin, the girl in the colorful skirt said to her companions. The spatial prison resisted briefly before bursting open. The mountain range that the bloodthirsty dragon had dominated shook violently as though struck by an earthquake, with massive fissures spreading like spider webs. The magical beasts enslaved by the dragon were thrown into chaos as a self-destructed force from a being who had illicitly broken into 4-star Do-D erupted with terrifying power. Facing this dreadful energy storm, Feng Yi and her companions could only seek temporary refuge, quickly relocating to the distant sky, watching the devastating energy waves below with grave faces. Bing Tian's actions had nearly turned the entire mountain range into ruins. In the distance, Red Do-Chi roared out like a fire cloud, and upon that cloud stood a tall figure with hands behind his back, looking down disdainfully. He paid no mind to the many heading towards the main hall, focusing only on the location of the bloodthirsty dragon.